Which came first, the egg or the chicken? When asked, which came first, the chicken or the egg, the majority of biologists will respond firmly. However, the answer could change depending on the kind of egg you're referring to. You may be familiar with the venerable conundrum, which came first, the chicken or the egg? If you interpret it metaphorically, it's a reflection on how pointless it is to try to identify the root of a vicious loop. It's a wonderful query for evolutionary biologists if taken literally. Eggs come from chickens, but chickens come from eggs. Which was first, then? The majority of biologists unequivocally claim that the egg evolved first. Eggs are really just female sex cells at their most basic level. Amniotic eggs, which are hard external eggs that may be placed on land, changed the game for vertebrates. According to Cohen Stein, a paleontologist at the Royal Belgian Institute of Natural Sciences, the egg is such a significant milestone in vertebrate development because it permitted amniotes to migrate further and further away from water. Vertebrates had to rely on bodies of water for reproduction before the advent of hard-shelled eggs packed with healthy yolks. This watery restriction still affects the majority of amphibians. In order to survive, they must maintain moisture in the gelatinous eggs. According to research published in the journal Current Biology, true birds didn't appear in the fossil record until the mid to late Jurassic, some 165 million to 150 million years ago, opens in New Tab. According to the Biodiversity Center at the University of Texas at Austin, however, scientists believe that the earliest eggs with shells emerged far earlier, around 325 million years ago, opens in New Tab. The egg therefore arrived far before the chicken, according to Stein. Like the eggs laid by modern reptiles and platypuses, these very first eggs were probably pliable and leathery in texture. In the Carboniferous, Permian, and Triassic periods, there were many land-based vertebrates that laid amniotic eggs, but the dinosaurs are the most well-known of these species. Stein has examined some of the earliest dinosaur eggshells ever discovered, which date back to the early Jurassic period 200 million years ago. Only roughly 100 microns thick, the exterior shells of these eggs were very thin. The thickness of a human hair, according to Stein. The first known example of an egg as we know it today, these early dinosaur eggs would have been stiff, like porcelain, rather than pliable, like a banana peel, based on their structure. It is most likely because of this thinness that scholars have had difficulty locating earlier specimens of eggshells. Rich, acidic soil causes an egg to start slowly dissolving. According to Stein, the soil would not have allowed for the preservation of such a thin calcareous layer. A 2020 study that was published in the journal Nature proposes that a different theory is that early dinosaur eggs had flimsy shells and so did not survive well in the fossil record, opens in New Tab. As a result, the egg existed before the chicken. Case resolved. Correct. I guess not quite. The narrative is different if we are referring to the very first chicken egg. Around 50 million years ago, a subspecies of red jungle fowl, Gallus gallus, likely gave rise to chickens, Gallus gallus domesticus. Between 1650 and 1250 BC, Southeast Asian humans first domesticated these birds. During the domestication process, the last ancestor of modern chickens would have laid an egg containing an embryo with sufficient genetic differences to distinguish it from its parent species. Before hatching, this embryonic chicken would have undergone development in the not-quite chicken egg. When it was an adult, it would then proceed to lay the first true chicken egg. According to this theory, the chicken predates the chicken egg. Even after becoming their own genetically different subspecies, chickens interbred with other jungle fowl subspecies, suggesting that evolutionary history is not straightforward. Certain contemporary chicken breeds exhibit some of these characteristics more or less than others. Furthermore, during a period of many thousand years, domestication of chickens appears to have taken place separately multiple times in various regions of India and Oceania. Regardless of who came first, scientists and philosophers can agree on one thing: both chickens and eggs are delectable.